The sound of your heels echoed in the hallway as you rushed towards the boardroom. You were 5 minutes late. You had spent 3 weeks perfecting a pitch that could potentially shift your department's trajectory, and now you were late. Your fingers trembled as you reached for the glass door handle. Inside, the presentation was already in progress, and by targeting both influencer clusters and user generated content, we'll double engagement within the first quarter. Mina's voice rang confidently through the room. You froze in the doorway. That was your idea. The deck she was presenting, your layout, your concept, your numbers, was playing on the screen. You stepped inside quietly, hoping to catch someone's eye, maybe signal that something was off. Jungkook was seated at the head of the table, arms crossed, his dark eyes fixed on Mina. Impressive work, Jungkook said, nodding slightly. Who designed the flow? It's very calculated. I did, sir. Mina smiled proudly, not a hint of hesitation in her voice. Your breath hitched, the betrayal was evident. You slid into the nearest seat, your heart was pounding. Mina avoided your gaze. The tone matches our brand's evolution phase exactly, said one of the senior managers. Long did it take you to build this? He looked at Mina with tightly clenched jaw. She was so shameless that she didn't even think for once before replying so confidently. A few weeks, Mina replied smoothly. I spent late nights on it. You wanted to scream, but your lips didn't move. Jungkook leaned forward slightly. We'll move forward with this, Mina. Stay back after the meeting. Your eyes met his for a fleeting second. Nothing, no flicker of recognition, no curiosity, just indifference. After the meeting, you stood by the elevator waiting for Jungkook to talk to him about this matter, although you weren't sure he would listen to you or believe you, but you decided to give it a try. Jungkook walked out of the boardroom, Mina a few steps behind him. You summoned your courage. Sir, can I have a moment? Jungkook didn't stop walking, let alone giving you a look. I'm busy right now. Talk to HR if it's important. You blinked. Mina gave you a smug smile before disappearing into his office. You shut yourself in a small meeting room and sat down, clenching your fists. The way he dismissed you, it hurt so much. You called your friend from another team, whispering into the phone. She stole it. What? Mina, she presented my pitch, the whole damn thing. Did you confront her? I couldn't. Not with everyone there. And Jungkook, he looked impressed. He believed her, and I don't think he would trust me. Stop thinking too much. Tell him. You looked down, scribbling in a paper. He has barely spoken to me since I snapped at him in front of the team last month. He hates me. Jungkook sat behind his desk, but his mind was still stuck on that moment when you tried to talk to him. He didn't hate you, but lately he had stopped talking to you, stopped giving you the attention he used to. Maybe it started when you dismissed him, like he didn't matter. You didn't meant it that way. Mina stepped into his office, her heels clicking on the marble floor. She handed him a file, a proud smile blooming across her face as she stood tall in front of him, feeling proud, feeling chosen, but she didn't deserve the praise because all she did was steal your idea. Sir, here's the report you asked for, she said, placing a file on his desk. Jungkook didn't look up right away. He accepted the file without a word, his fingers brushing the paper, but his mind still spinning. He had a sharp memory, and he was almost too sure that the concept Mina pitched wasn't hers. It felt familiar, too familiar. He had heard those words before, not in a meeting, not in a pitch, but on a quiet evening by the vending machine when you were the one talking to him, unaware of how intently he listened. You always see the brand, but what if we show the feeling instead? Feeling? He had asked, tilting his head. Yeah, like how it would feel to wear it, not just how it looks. Memories started flashing in his mind. Mina stood clearly waiting. You worked on this alone? He asked, finally looking up. She blinked. Of course, sir. Every detail. Jungkook hummed, low and unreadable. You are very confident. Mina smiled again. It's all about vision, right? He didn't smile back. He watched her turn and leave, her shoulders straighter than ever, and when the door clicked shut, he let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. Meanwhile, you sat in the quiet corner of the office lounge, fingers trembling slightly as you stirred your tea. The taste of betrayal hadn't left your mouth since yesterday. Mia slid into the seat across from you. He didn't say anything. You shook your head. He looked at me, just looked like he knew. Then maybe he's waiting for you to speak up. Maybe he wants to hear it from you. You glanced down at your tea, or maybe I already disappointed him once. Maybe he's just hurt. You still hurt, of course, and you are the reason behind that. You hadn't thought of it that way, not until now. The day you let someone else claim your work, stood there quiet while Jungkook spoke up for you. You thought you were protecting yourself, but he stood in that meeting room, defending you, trusting you would speak the truth, and when you didn't, he took the fall. He was questioned, doubted, all because you chose silence. Maybe that was the moment something in him shifted. Maybe that's when he started keeping his distance. Not out of anger, but out of disappointment. That evening you walked past his office, the lights were still on. Jungkook was sitting there, staring at nothing again. Your feet paused on their own. You hated the silence between you. You hated how your throat closed every time you wanted to speak, but more than anything, you hated how he hadn't fought back when Meena took credit for your soul. You knocked. He looked up surprised but not unwelcoming. Can we talk? You finally gathered your courage and asked. There was a long pause, then he leaned back in his chair. Come in. Your heart pounded as you stepped inside, the scent of expensive cologne and old pages surrounding you like memories. You stood across his desk, close but still a safe distance. I'm here to tell you something about Meena did. You started, voice tight. She took my idea. That pitch, I'm sure she sneaked into my computer and presented it before I had a chance. Jungkook didn't respond right away. He leaned back into his chair, slow and composed, arms folding across his chest like he had all the time in the world. But his eyes were pinned on you, unreadable, and that made you nervous. Are you sure? His voice was low, almost emotionless. It hurt more than you wanted to admit. You bit the inside of your cheek, forcing yourself to stay calm. He wasn't like this before. There was a time when he would believe your words without a second thought. When he used to smile just a little every time you walked into his office. When he used to pause in hallways just to say hi. When he used to listen, now he barely even looked at you unless he had to. Your voice cracked slightly as you answered. I wouldn't have come to you if I wasn't sure. There was a pause, then he let out a breath, half sigh, half something else. It's not your first time. You usually don't come to me even when you are sure. You blinked, caught off guard. What's that supposed to mean? His eyes flicked up to yours, something dark swimming in them now. Forget already? He asked, voice laced with sarcasm. Few weeks ago, the Soul campaign meeting, everyone thought you forgot to finalize the designs. That mess, you didn't say a word. You swallowed hard, that wasn't fair, but he wasn't wrong either. You could have cleared it up. He continued, standing now, stepping closer, slow, deliberate. But you stayed quiet and let the team think you were careless. You let me look like an idiot for defending you when you wouldn't even defend yourself. You looked down, throat tight. I wasn't trying to make you look bad, you whispered. Then what were you trying to do, Ian? His voice wasn't loud, but it was sharp enough to pierce straight through you. Disappear? You blinked fast, trying to steady your breathing. You remember that day, how Mina had cornered you in the hallway before the meeting, saying she would take care of it. You were exhausted, overworked, and honestly, you just didn't want conflict, so you let her handle it. You didn't know she would twist it. You didn't know Jungkook would end up being questioned by the board because of your silence. And after that, something changed. He didn't smile anymore, didn't look for you in meetings, didn't stop you in hallways. He pulled back like a door quietly closing. You looked up at him now. I made a mistake, but it doesn't mean I'm lying now. He stared at you long enough for the silence to buzz in your ears. Then he exhaled slowly, rubbing a hand along his jaw. Meena is not stupid enough to risk stealing unless she was sure you wouldn't say anything. You flinched. Maybe he didn't mean it like that, but it still hit hard. Still, you stood your ground. I'm not afraid of her anymore. I came here because I want you to know the truth, even if you don't believe me. His eyes flickered at that. For the first time in weeks, that they softened. Just a little, and he didn't say anything for a while. Finally, he walked back behind his desk slowly and sat down, his eyes never leaving you. I'll look into it, he said quietly. You nodded, trying not to let your emotions show. But just as you turned to leave, he called out, Wine. You stopped, hand on the doorknob. Next time, don't wait for things to fall apart before you come to me. You turned slightly enough to meet his gaze. Next time, don't give up on me so quickly either, you whispered. And with that, you left, leaving him alone, eyes on the door, wondering when exactly things between you had gone from close to complicated. It's not that Jungkook hated you, he was disappointed. You always stayed quiet even when you were right. You let Meena take your credit, let things slide, and never stood up for yourself. The Soul campaign was the last straw. He defended you, trusted you to speak up, but you didn't. And that silence, it broke something in him. He cared maybe too much. That's why the distance hurt more than words ever could. In the next meeting, the air was heavy with the usual pre-preparations nerves. Meena stood near the whiteboard, heels clicking as she paced with confidence she didn't earn. You sat across the table, fingers tapping lightly against your notebook, trying to control the storm bubbling inside you. Jungkook entered the room, calm and unreadable as always, and took his place at the head of the table. Let's begin. Meena, the floor is yours. His eyes met yours, and this time you saw the same old shine in them, like he was silently encouraging you. You felt relieved, thinking everything was fine once again between you both, but still there was one thing you need to solve. She smiled like she already won. As you all know, I have prepared a pitch for the new campaign, she began. It focuses on emotional storytelling, subtle color palettes, and a minimalist aesthetic to create a strong identity. You stared at her, jaw tight. Those weren't her words, not her vision. That was yours. Jungkook's gaze flickered to you, his fingers tapped once against the table. A silent signal only you seemed to catch. Then he spoke. If anyone has questions, he said casually, feel free to ask. I want this campaign to be airtight. The other members exchanged polite glances. No one moved until you did. You shifted slightly in your seat and raised your hand. I do. Meena stiffened, her smile faltering just slightly. You leaned forward, calm but sharp. Meena, can you explain the reasoning behind choosing muted amber as the base tone for the campaign? Specifically, how it connects with the seasonal psychology of the target demographic? Meena blinked, then fumbled with her words. Well, I just thought it looked nice, trendy. You tilted your head, eyes narrowing. That's not what the notes say, because that tone wasn't chosen for trend. It was chosen to evoke nostalgia, to emotionally reconnect with the consumer base that's emotionally disconnected. She was silent. You let that moment linger, then added, It's okay, it happens when you copy someone else's idea without understanding the depth behind it. A loud hush fell over the room. Whispers broke out. Heads turned. Mina's eyes widened. What the hell are you saying? This is my idea. You smiled. Then answer my questions. All of them, can't you? She didn't speak. You stood up. Then let me. You turned to Jungkook. Can I? He nodded. Sure. You walked to the front with quiet confidence, took the marker from her hand, and turned to the board like it was yours all along. With clear, passionate words, you explained every detail, the psychology, the audience connection, the layered messaging. You brought the room to life. Every head turned to you, and Jungkook, he hadn't taken his eyes off you once. There was pride in his gaze, respect, and maybe something more. When he finished, the room broke into low claps and nods of approval. Jungkook stood up slowly. I think it's clear whose idea this really was, he said coolly, looking directly at Mina. Her face went pale. He turned to HR. Let's talk about internal protocol breaches after the meeting. And just like that, Mina was done, fired on the spot. But you walked back to your seat, heart racing, not from nerves, but from the feeling of finally being seen, finally being heard. Jungkook caught your eyes as you said. He didn't smile, but he didn't have to. You saw it in his eyes, the pride, the trust, and the silent words that said, finally. The office lights dimmed one by one as the day faded into evening. Most of the employees had already left, their chatter long gone, replaced by the soft hum of printers and occasional flick of a light switch. You stepped out of the elevator, exhausted but lighter than you had felt in weeks. The quiet click of your heels echoed down the hallway until you saw him, Jungkook. Leaning against the wall just outside your office, arms crossed over his chest, still in his suit, the tie slightly loosened, he looked like he had been waiting. You should have gone home, you said softly, adjusting the strap of your bag on your shoulder. He pushed off the wall. I was waiting. You stopped in front of him. For what? For you. He said simply. The silence between you was no longer awkward. It was warm, comforting, curious, like maybe there was something else waiting to be said. You were incredible today, he said after a moment. His voice was low. That presentation, the way you handled everything, it was everything I knew you had in you. Your throat tightened slightly. Why didn't you say anything before? When you knew she stole it, he sighed, because it wasn't about me proving it. It was about you believing in yourself enough to say it out loud. You blinked, eyes stinging. I was angry, not at you, just disappointed, because I've seen you doing magic behind the scenes, and it killed me to watch you let people walk over you. You looked away, but he gently tilted your chin back with his fingers. But today, you didn't let anyone silence you. You were everything I hoped you would be. The silence swelled with meaning, with everything unspoken between you. I don't just respect you, he said, stepping closer. I care about you more than I should. Your breath caught. I didn't want to blur the lines, not when I thought you didn't feel the same, but it's been driving me insane. Watching you from a distance, wanting to fix everything for you, but knowing you needed to find your voice first. You looked at him, your voice barely a whisper. And now that I have, he smiled just a little. Now I want to hear everything you have to say about work, about your ideas, about us. Your heart thudded. You reached up, fingers brushing the edge of his sleeve. I thought you hated me. I couldn't, even when I tried. The tension melted into something softer, realer. He leaned down slowly, giving you a moment to pull away, but you didn't. And when his lips touched yours, it wasn't rushed or hungry, it was careful, like a promise, a new beginning.